Museum Committee to order, and I'll remind members that if you have a pecuniary interest, please state it now or further down the agenda as it arises. And we have two action items, beginning with the Krug Reserve, and I'll just read it in and then I'll give it to you, Kathy, that the monthly lease payments for 254 High Street, Southampton be transferred into the Krug Reserve, and that the related expenditures for the maintenance of the property be paid for from the Krug Reserve.
Thank you. So you'll see in just the background for the report, when we took over the property, we also assumed the lease agreement, and we do have tenants currently in the building that are obviously paying their rental lease income on a monthly basis. So the reserve policy dictates that County Council, I need approval to the diversion of funds into this account.
Thanks, Kathy. Are there any questions from members? Paul?
Under the current, with the current tenant, who's cutting the grass and going to do the snow?
Currently, they are responsible for those items themselves. So they do their own snow removal, they do their own lawn maintenance. The only time that we would be called in or notified is if there was an actual issue with, something related to the house itself. And then we would have to look at, again, if it was an electrical issue, we have maintenance people on staff, but they're not qualified tradespeople, so we would have to source that out. Similar to the tree cutting and tree kind of cleanup on the building, we had to call in a service to do that. So the use of the lease funds helps offset those costs.
Thanks, Paul. Anybody else? Okay, I've read the recommendation. If there's no other questions, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Sorry? Oh, I do need a mover. Sorry, Anne and Bob. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. All right, and the second one, the office renovation. It's recommended that the related expenditures for the office renovation, which is approximately $22,000, be funded from the tax stabilization reserve.
So, yeah, thank you. You have the report in front of you as well in regards to this. And as council is aware from a tour that we did back in 2016, we have some challenges with the current footprint and, in terms of utilization of the space, which we've been able to do quite well. But we are experiencing obviously some issues with the openness of the concept. And in particular, the areas that we're looking to do this slight renovation on are on the upper level. So with the new development officer and the services supervisor, we'd be looking at repurposing the area to make it more efficient and to have some of the areas more closed off as well. So when they're working on confidential documents, or in the case of the development officer, if she's with a donor talking about confidential issues, or the services supervisor speaking with her direct reports, it gives a little bit more privacy and obviously tends better for that type of work and not so much prone to the multiple distractions in the open environment.
Thanks, Kathy. Are there any questions on this report? Can I have a mover and seconder? Mike and Ann. I've read the recommendation. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Great. And we'll go to the information reports.
Yeah, so there's a number of information items. You've all seen the report, so I'll just highlight a couple of interesting facts for you. In regards to our business sponsorship report, this is a familiar report and we're tracking really well. 88% of our funds are in for our programs, which is excellent. And again, the grants were at 30%. We're just waiting for a few, but we have full confidence that the ones that we have applied for hopefully will be come to fruition. In particular, a couple of the grants that we're looking at, if we do not receive the funding, we wouldn't proceed with the project. So there's no real impact from that perspective. And the one I'm referencing in particular is the National Heritage Digitization Strategy Grant. So that one, if we did not receive funding for it, we would not proceed with the project. But we're hopeful that we'll hear shortly on the two that are pending as well. Moving into the collections report, you've all been in, you've seen the beautiful work of Alan Weinstein on the walls, but where I wanted to draw your attention is in regards to the collecting report. So the collecting report we created in 2013, and we needed a plan for how we do our collecting. So since that time, we've been revising the plan, and as more collections are coming in, as we're deaccessioning from the collection. So a couple of things that are noteworthy in this report in particular is areas of determining areas where we're underrepresented. So from a geographical perspective, you can see that we have underrepresentation from North Bruce Peninsula, South Bruce Peninsula, and South Bruce. Right now, we're just taking a look at that, and we'll be also coming up with a strategy how we can get into those municipalities and further try to let people know that we're here, and that if they have collections that they would like to donate to the museum, that we would be able to work through that with them. Some of the thought process for Northern Bruce Peninsula is probably because of the of Tobermory Museum of St. Edmunds, because you know that they have their own museum there. But again, it just gives us a good picture, good representation of what we should be looking to collect, how we can start communicating more with our donors, and then again, making sure that we have equal or not equal, but good representation from all of the municipalities that we represent. So that's just that report. And again, the other amendments are things that we're not looking to take into the collection. Now, when we say we're not looking to take in these things, it'll be for a variety of reasons, but it absolutely does not mean that if someone came and they had an absolutely excellent cap badge or a collar badge that had really good provenance, that we wouldn't accept it. It's just that those are things that we're not openly wanting to take into the collection at this time, because we do have a number of them. So just an update from the collection side. In regards to our education and outreach, again, continuing, the school programs have slowed down a little bit for the now that we're into summer months, but we were fully well with the school groups for the month of June, and you can see a number of them have come into the facility for looking for their last kind of trips for the school year. The teen program, which is the youth program, just completed this week, and that again is a leadership program, so we're trying to work with youth between the ages of 12 and 16, get them really engaged more in leadership roles, as well as working and volunteering at the museum. And then there's just a couple of other items in there from an education perspective. Moving into the marketing report, just the update on the Alan Weinstein show, which we are now working with Alan over the next I guess we have 3 other dates that Alan will be coming in, and he'll be personally doing curated tours of his exhibition, which will be open to the public. And there's the attendance. You can just see some of the people at the opening reception for that. And as well, countywide awareness, our community outreach continues. So you can see down in the bottom corner, we did do quite a bit, and we continue to do quite a bit of outreach. This one in particular was through the Seniors Fair in Owen Sound. And then there's another picture of how we're doing outreach with the libraries as well. So currently, the library had a display in our foyer about their fishing program, and we have display in the Kincardine branch about our programs over the summer months. So still continuing to work with the library on joint programming. This is a little bit dated, but upcoming exhibit openings. Mayor Inglis and Mayor Smith were there last night for the Riding the Rails exhibition. We had an excellent turnout. There was 194 people there. It was kind of a soft opening because the trains are not fully automated yet, but they will be over the next coming weeks. But lots of enthusiasm, and actually some of the members that were working in the volunteer committee, of which there were over 50 at one point in time, a core group of probably 30, were actually considering or talking about if they could start a model train group. So again, working with those community partners is really beneficial to the museum in order to be able to present these type of exhibitions. So you'll have to come in and see it. And then the last report that we have is our programming report. So we did complete the four parts of the geometry of music with Mike Sterling. Again, it was a sold-out event that night. Mike actually had worked with us in regards to getting members of Perimeter Institute to the museum for a visit. So we had 16 members come up. They did a tour of Chantry Island and a tour of the museum, and then finished out their evening with this reception and event with Mike Sterling and a couple of Mike's colleagues. So it was a great turnout. And we're looking to continue to increase our engagement with Perimeter, especially from an outreach perspective. The National Indigenous Day, the museum took part, and we were part of the overall daily celebrations, which were hosted at Saugeen, as well as at the school, GC Houston, and the museum, and of course the naming of the bridge in Southampton. So we were pleased to be a part of that, group that presented the day, and we'll be continuing our work with the Sweetgrass and Thistle group to finish and start actually in the fall with our Bemadzawon workshops, which we did several of those last year as well. And of course we have the upcoming programs for the summer months, where we have basically different daily activities every day. And that is the report before we go into the closed report.
Thank you, Kathy. Is there any questions or comments on these 5 reports? Seeing none at all. So I do have a motion that the committee move into a closed meeting to discuss the county archival expansion and the acquisition of property from St. Paul's Church located at 254 High Street, Southampton, pursuant to Section 239, 2A of the Municipal Act relating to the security of the property of the municipality or local board, and Section 2K of the Municipal Act related to a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiation carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. Can I have a mover and a seconder to go into closed? Ann and Mitch, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?